a lot of these black women be negligent. No one, and you know what the worst thing is? No one wants to tell the sisters about all the negative that they do. No one wants to tell the sisters to their face about how they're living the wrong life. They want to dump all the blame on the so-called black man. And hell, most of these kids that these sisters have, I ain't have one of them claiming rape. You know what I mean? You got one sister running around with 6 kids with 3 different fathers. What kind of woman is that? So the Most High is telling you that what he was going to do was put that spirit of hatred on the man for his woman and neglect for his children. That he was going to put the spirit of hatred on the woman for her man and the spirit of neglect for her children. You got women that's literally selling their kids for crack. You got women that'll put their kids someplace just to go have a crack binge. Leave it there for so many days. You got people that all together abandon, they find all kind of babies in garbage dumps and, you know what I'm saying, abandoned in cars and behind buildings. But nobody wants to ever bring that up. So what we're reading is, let me say this, what I challenge anyone to do, literally, is go and do any type of anthropological study to find out if you'll find these circumstances among the so-called Chinese community. If you'll find these circumstances, you know what? There was a magazine that was, a magazine that was Asian. The name of the magazine was Asian Times, and it was an article. The magazine, the headquarters of this magazine is in San Francisco, and there was an article a couple of years back called, the title, "Why Asians Hate Black People." Literally, why Asians hate black people. You can do a Google on it and you'll get it. You know, Asian Times article, I can't remember the year, it wasn't too long ago, why Asians hate black people. And when you go down the list, they're telling the truth. And I remember, you know, in California at the time, there was an uproar. Because you know why? Black people don't want to hear the truth about themselves. That their treatment for one another is abhorrent. They don't want to hear the truth about themselves. That their men won't take responsibility for themselves and for their condition. They don't want to hear the truth about themselves, about how their women have taught the other world how to be whores. On shows like, well, it all started on Soul Train. But now all you got to do is go into YouTube, and what are you going to see? You got those 10-minute clips where the black woman could be doing anything in the world, and what she chooses to do on YouTube is 10 minutes of booty clapping. You see her adjusting the camera, then she run around and get to the end of the bed and start hopping. It don't make no sense. So no one wants to tell our people, so the Asians, they wrote a list. They said, what we can't stand about black people, number 1, is that they won't take responsibility for their children. Number 2, it says they're the only people who's been in slavery for 400 years. No, they couldn't even figure out what else they've been. And let me say, the beautiful thing was, they still acknowledge that you're still enslaved. They said, you're the only people who was in slavery for 400 years plus. Then they went on and said, you're the only people who follow the religion of your enemies. I mean, they had a list and they didn't lie not once. Because that's what the other people see. They don't respect our people as human beings. They don't respect our people as legitimate people, man, because you don't stick together. But these are all the curses that we're reading. I want you to jump down. We're going to get some more. Listen, read verse 56 again, then we're going to move on.
Verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter.
That's it. That's talking about the mother's neglect and hatred for her children and for her husband. And that's taking place. Just like the father's neglect and disdain for his woman and for his children. You gotta hunt him down and give him, you know, and it's funny, you should be like I said, it's shame on the black man for running around and puffing your chest out when somebody compliments you for taking care of your kids. You're doing what damn dogs do. You don't need to do what, you know what I'm saying? You really feel, yeah, what you're supposed to be doing, they're your kids. If somebody got to give you a trophy because you took care of your kids. Here you go, Bobby. We don't give Bobby the Outstanding Daddy Award. Bobby's supposed to be taking care of his children. You don't see the white man doing that, having damn ceremonies because somebody's taking care of their kids. I understand it's a rarity, but you're only doing what bears do. You're only doing what skunks do. You're only doing what ants do. All creatures take care of their offspring. So why should you be applauded? But you know what? I understand it because, like I said, the whole notion is a testimony to that. It's a rarity that a black man is going to stick around and be responsible and take care of his children. All right, verse 63. Go ahead.
Verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good.
See, listen to this. People don't understand the nature of the Heavenly Father. It says, and it shall come to pass, just like the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good. Go ahead.
The Lord, top of 63 again, sorry. And it shall come,
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you.
Now, people don't think that when the slave trade was taking place, when we were being broken down and brought over across the Atlantic Ocean, it said the Lord rejoiced over us. Read that again, verse 63 from the top.
And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you.
The Most High was happy when He destroyed us. Go ahead.
And to bring you to naught.
And to bring us to nothing. Continue.
And you shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Go ahead.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
And the Lord scattered us among all people. Like I said, that was called the transatlantic slave trade, and it was loosely referred to as the African diaspora. We're not African, but we were sold out of the continent of Africa. We were refugees there that were sold out by the black indigenous people of the continent. Go ahead.
From the one end of the earth even unto the other.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth, from the eastern hemisphere, even unto the other. Go ahead.
And there,
in those places, and there, continue,
thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
And that's where and how we learn all of these religions. In other words, because that's what took place. They gave us our language, they gave us their custom, they imposed their culture upon us, and then they imposed that drug that helped a normal person that would normally complain, that would normally try to escape, that would normally rebel. They gave him that narcotic that puts him to sleep, and that's called religion. We're going to reiterate this last verse, verse 68 again. Read that.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
The word Egypt, like we read, it meant restraint, tribulation, distress, and shut in. So He brought us into these conditions using ships. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee.
In the land that we were receiving these laws, continue.
Thou shalt see no more again.
Go ahead.
And there,
in the place that we went on slave ships,
you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen,
for slave men,
and bondwomen,
and slave women,
and no man shall buy you,
and no one would redeem you. So what we're here to teach you is that the so-called blacks throughout the Americas, the Native Americans, all of the indigenous throughout the Americas, the people that were brought over on slave ships, you are the true 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. The so-called blacks of America specifically are the Jew that the Bible is speaking of. They are the tribe of Judah. Thank you, Otis, for this opportunity, for us sharing this with your congregation, and we hope to hear from you soon. Shalom.
Shalom.